By golly, it's amazing. It sounds like something you'd hear on the radio.
Presenting the transcription feature.
The Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester Dennis Day, and yours truly, Don Wilson.
It's 8:30 New York time. Time to wake up, America, and stump the expert.
From Hollywood, it's time now for Johnny Dollar.
Kraft presents The Great Gildersleeve.
And now meet Dick Calmer as Boston Blackie.
It's the Phil Harris Alice Faye Show, presented transcribed by the makers of Rexall drug products.
And now it's time to meet the men from the ministry.
The Armed Forces Radio and Television Service presents the Bob Hope Show with Les Brown and his band of renown. And yours truly, Bill Goodwin. And now here he is, Bob Hope.
Greetings, I'm Kevin Lauderdale. We'll start with an episode of The Jack Benny Show. This one centers on the 1950 World Series between the Philadelphia Phillies and the New York Yankees. The Yankees won in 4 straight games. Kenny Baker had been the show's Irish tenor, Dennis Day's role, during the show's early years. Harvey was first a 1944 play by Mary Chase, which won the Pulitzer Prize, and then a 1950 movie starring Jimmy Stewart, about a man whose best friend is an invisible 6-foot, 3 1/2 inch tall rabbit. Ciro's was a very hip Hollywood nightclub. I imagine that most folks will recognize the song Bali Hai from the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical South Pacific. Cedars of Lebanon was a major hospital in Los Angeles. In 1961, it merged with the other major hospital in the area, Mount Sinai, to become Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. The old joke that Mary supposedly got her start working at the May Company department store in downtown Los Angeles is dragged out again. Dick Sisler was a first baseman for the Phillies from 1948 to 1951. He was a good enough player to get a mention in Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. Quote, "In the other league, between Brooklyn and Philadelphia, I must take Brooklyn. But then I think of Dick Sisler and those great drives in the old park. There was nothing ever like them. He hits the longest ball I have ever seen." End quote. Now, interestingly, another player in the novel mentioned by name is, of course, the great Joe DiMaggio, who was with the Yankees in 1950. So the 2 baseball players in The Old Man and the Sea played against each other in the 1950 World Series. John L. Lewis was the head of the United Mine Workers of America. He disagreed with the government's requirement that labor union leaders swear they were not communists. Jacob Malik was a real person, the Soviet representative to the United Nations. He famously walked out of Security Council meetings twice in 1 week in January of 1950 over the Soviet view that the Communist People's Republic of China, PRC, was the true Chinese government, not the nationalist Chinese government, or what we now call Taiwan. Boxers Jack Dempsey and Gene Tunney fought twice back in the 1920s. Patrick O'Brien was an actor who specialized in Irish characters, although the reference here is to his most famous movie, Knute Rockne All-American, the biopic about the football player of Norwegian descent who played for the College of Notre Dame, and that team's nickname is the Fighting Irish. From October 8th, 1950, The Jack Benny Show. Jack listens to the World Series and the Dempsey-Tunney fight.
The
Jack Benny Program, presented by Lucky Strike.
Be happy, go lucky, be happy, go lucky strike, be happy, go lucky strike today.
Now I sell Luckies to the fans, yes, that's the smoke to get. They've mildness and a richer taste in one great cigarette.
I am the pitcher for the team, they cheer my every act.
The stands are like a lucky strike, so firm and fully packed.
Be happy, go lucky, be happy, go lucky strike. Be happy, go lucky strike today.
Enjoy your cigarette. Enjoy truly fine tobacco that combines both perfect mildness and rich taste in one great cigarette, Lucky Strike. For only fine tobacco gives you both real mildness and rich taste. And LSMFT, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So friends, be happy, go lucky. Try a carton of Lucky Strike.
Be happy, go lucky, be happy, go lucky strike. Be happy, go lucky strike today.
The Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester, Dennis Day, and yours truly, Don Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, just a few days ago, Jack Benny asked the gang over to his house to listen to the World Series. So let's go back. It's morning, and Rochester is preparing Jack's bath.
Oh, boss! Boss!
What is it, Rochester?
You can come in and take your bath. I've got your tub filled.
In a minute.
Until he gets here, I'd better add a little more soap and keep blowing through this straw. Mr. Benny likes a lot of bubbles. Look at those bubbles. Once I blew some big ones and he did a dance for me. I better check the temperature again.
Good morning, Rochester.
Your bath is ready for you, boss. Take off your robe and step in.
No, I've decided not to use the tub anymore. You know, I read a book by Bernard McFadden, and he said if you want to stay healthy, you got to have good circulation. And the best way to get it is to jump out of bed and step into a cold shower.
Right out of a warm bed into a cold shower?
Look, if it's good enough for Bernard McFadden, it's good enough for me.
But, boss, he's younger than you are.
No, he just looks it. He's got a lot of hair, you know. Now, come on, Rochester, open that shower door and turn on the cold water.
Yes, sir.
Let it run a while. I want to get it good and cold.
It ought to be cold enough now.
I guess you're right. Well, here goes.
Ooh, ooh.
Oh, this is wonderful. Woo! Yeah, there's nothing like standing in a cold shower.
Yeah, but I dare you to put down that umbrella.
Are you crazy? You have to do these things gradually. Now, hand me the soap.
Here you are, boss.
Thanks. Now, hold the umbrella while I scrub my back.
Yes, sir.
This is a light. Rochester, why do you keep moving the umbrella?
It's either you or me, and I've got my clothes on.
Get out of the shower. I want help, not company.
Yes, sir.
Well, I guess I've had enough. That was good. Hand me a towel, Rochester.
Yes, sir. Here you are.
Thanks. Now go down to the kitchen and... Rochester, this towel is marked hers.
That's the one you borrowed from Mrs. Ronald Coleman.
Oh, well, give me the one marked his.
He came and got his.
Oh, well, hand me one of my own. And, Rochester, get out my slippers.
The ones with the pom-poms on them?
No, they have no backs, and I keep losing my arch support. I'll pick out my own clothes. You go down to the kitchen and make some coffee while I get dressed.
Yes, sir. I ought to clean this house more often. Look at that dust on the piano. And somebody wrote his name in it. Kenny Baker. We haven't seen him in 10 years. Well, I'll clean it after I... Hello, Polly.
Hello.
Well, I better dust the piano before I fix breakfast. Be happy, go lucky, be happy, go lucky strike. You better learn the words, Polly. Coming! Oh, hello, Miss Livingston. Come on in.
Hello, Rochester. Mr. Benny home?
He's getting dressed. He'll be down in a minute. You know, Miss Livingston, he started a new health fad by taking a cold shower this morning.
Oh, him and his health fads. A couple of years ago, he wanted to improve his eyesight, so for months he ate nothing but carrots.
Did it help his eyes?
No, but his ears grew 2 inches. Then he tried to get the lead at Harvey. Oh, hello, Jack.
What's up, Doc? I heard what you said, Mary. You can stop making things up. How's your cold?
Oh, I'm fine now, Jack, and thanks for sending that doctor over. He was awfully cute.
The doctor, he was?
Yeah. And I guess I wasn't as sick as I thought I was.
Why?
He took my temperature, took my pulse, and took me to Cyril's.
That's funny. Me, he takes to Cedars of Lebanon. Did you have a good time at Cyril's?
Yeah, but it's kind of funny going out with a doctor. They've always got their minds on business.
What do you mean?
I told him my steak was too rare, so he put a tourniquet on it.
Hey, that's good. I bet your mother sent you that one, didn't you? Say, Mary, the gang will be here pretty soon. We're going to listen to the World Series. You want a cup of coffee?
No, thanks. Say, Jack, who do you think will win the series?
Oh, Philadelphia's a cinch to win.
Philadelphia?
Certainly. How can they lose with players like Eddie Waitkus, Andy Seminick, Richie Ashburn, and Phil Rizzuto?
Rizzuto's with the Yankees.
Oh, yes. I meant to say Charles Ezzard.
That's Ezzard Charles, and he's a fighter.
Well, maybe I did get a little mixed up. I haven't read the papers lately.
You haven't read a paper since you stopped delivering them.
Look, Mary, go in the kitchen and help Rochester make the coffee.
Okay.
I'll get it. Must be some of the gang.
Hello, Mr. Benny.
Oh, hello, Dennis. Come on in. As soon as the rest of the gang gets here, we'll listen to the... Dennis? Dennis? Why is your arm in a sling?
It's my father's fault.
Your father's fault?
Yeah, my mother got so mad at my father, she picked me up and threw me at him.
Then why is it your father's fault?
He ducked and I went right through the window.
Dennis, I wish you'd stop making
Jack,
up...
if the game starts at 1 o'clock in New York, it should be on here.
Oh, hello, Mary.
Oh, hello, Dennis. Jack, the game should be on, and if you... Dennis?
Mary, don't ask him.
But, Jack, I want to know what happened to him. Dennis, what's wrong with your arm?
Nothing.
Nothing? You told me you went through a window.
Well, that's how I hurt my leg.
Your leg?
Then why'd you put your arm in the sling?
When I put my leg in it, I can't walk.
You see, Mary? You see, you wouldn't listen to me, would you? You wouldn't listen to me, would you? Now, look, Dennis, I want to ask you one simple question.
Uh-huh.
I'm silly, but I'm going to ask it. I have no business to ask. Look, you're wearing a sling and there's nothing wrong with your arm. That I can understand. But why is the sling black?
Notre Dame lost.
And for that, you're wearing a black sling?
Pat O'Brien killed himself.
He did not! Now, look, kid, before the gang gets here, let's hear the song you're going to do on the show.
Yes, sir. Hold my sling.
Hold it yourself.
This is La Vie en Rose. When you kiss me, heaven sighs, and though I close my eyes, I see La Vie en Rose. When you press me to your heart, I'm in a world apart. A world where roses bloom. Give your heart and soul to me, and life will always be la vie en rose. When you press me to your heart, I'm in a world apart, a world where roses bloom. And when you speak, angels sing from above. Everyday words seem to turn into love songs. Give your heart and soul to me, and life will always be la vie en
That was very good, Dennis. Very good. Gee, I wish I could sing like you do.
What?
I said that I wish I could sing like you do.
Copying, always copying.
Huh?
First you wanted to dress like Phil.
Look, Dennis.
Now you want to sing like me.
Dennis.
You already walk like Mary.
Only when I'm wearing my pom-pom slippers. Now, let's not have any more of... Hey, maybe that's the rest of the gang. I'll get it. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some Luckies and Cracker Jack.
Remley's outside and he's flat on his back.
Well, leave him out there. Come on in, Phil.
Hiya, Jackson. Hello, kid.
Hello, Phil.
Well, Phil, the game will be on pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jackson, but I can't stay. I got to go to a wedding. Sammy, my drummer's getting married.
Sammy? Sammy, your drummer? You mean Moonglow? Sammy's getting married?
Yep, he's going to marry the little girl who used to play harp in my band.
Gee, imagine Sammy getting married. I didn't know they were serious. I knew he went out with her once.
That's what did it. When he brought her home, her father was standing on the front porch with a clarinet, and Sammy thought it was a shotgun.
Well, that's a logical mistake.
Anyway, Jackson, even though I can't stay to hear the game, our bet's still on.
It's on, it's on.
How much is the bet, Jack?
Oh, it isn't money.
What?
That's right, Liv. Jack has Philadelphia, I have the Yankees, and the winner gets to kiss Betty Grable.
What about the loser?
He holds Harry James.
Yeah.
Well, if Jack wins, who's going to hold Betty Grable?
Mary, another crack like that, and May is going to have company.
Get it, kid?
Huh?
Hey, Jackson, speak about the World Series. You want to hear a funny coincidence?
Coincidence?
Yeah. In my living room, there's a picture of a little gray-haired old lady sitting in a rocking chair. And I just found out her son plays on the Philadelphia ball team.
Really, Phil? Who is she?
Sisler's mother. Oh, Harris, you may not be pitching, but you threw that one by the old man.
Phil, Yogi Berra wouldn't have swung on that one.
Well, look, Jackson, I got to run along. See you later. So long.
So long, so long.
All right, Remley, we're leaving. Get up, will you, please? Let's get some action. Let's get the... Come on, Remley.
What a guy. You know, Mary, Phil thinks he's smart because he was appointed dog catcher of Encino. I wouldn't appoint him ambassador to Moscow. It's the last time I'll buy a joke from John L. Lewis.
Jack.
What? I ad-libbed that one in the middle there. I had it ad-libbed for about 12 minutes. I had it written in there already. I wrote it in with pencil so you wouldn't know that. I'm an ad-libbing fool, you know.
Jack.
What?
Why don't you stop picking on Phil? I think he's pretty smart.
Smart?
Yeah, he's a lot smarter than you are.
Smarter than me? Dennis, name me one smart thing that Phil Harris ever did.
He didn't ask me why my arm is in a sling.
Dennis, that isn't being smart. That's self-defense. Anybody who's foolish enough to ask you, come in. Oh, hello, Don.
Hello, Jack. Hi, kids.
Hello, Don.
Hope I haven't missed too much of the ball game.
No, Don. We still have a few minutes. The game doesn't start till 10 o'clock.
Well, look, I've got 11:15.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Don. How can a man of your age and dignity wear a Mickey Mouse wristwatch?
You gave it to me for Christmas.
Oh, did that go to you? Yeah, I meant it for Phil. He can't tell time, so I thought he'd enjoy the pictures.
Jack, if you want to hear the game, you better turn on the radio.
Yeah, come on, let's go in the den.
Oh, by the way, Mary, you all over your cold?
Yes, Don, thank you.
Well, I hope being off the program last week hasn't set you back too much financially.
No, Don, I pay insurance premiums every week, and any time I'm sick and stay off the show, I collect half salary.
Gee, I'd like to get that kind of insurance.
Jack, here's another customer for you.
Thanks. Don, you'll find an application on the piano there. Well, sit down, everybody. I'm going to put on the radio now. Here goes the old ball game.
Ladies, does your husband talk in his sleep? He does? Well, send for our little stool pigeon tape recorder. It will soon pay for itself.
I thought this was the station.
Well, hurry, Jack. We don't want to miss any of the game.
I'm trying.
Bali
Isn't that awful? I can't get the station here.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you another in our series of speakers to discuss the world situation. Tonight we have the Russian delegate, Jacob Malik.
Я очень рад быть здесь. Погода здесь была очень хорошая. Дни были теплые, солнечные, но ночи были довольно прохладные. Конечно, вчера стоял туман. До полудня. Ну, в общем, какая разница? Какая разница?
How do you like that? He walked out on himself. Why can't I get the ball game? I've been tuning in to different... Oh, her again. I don't want that.
And now for our next contestant. Your name, sir?
Twombly, Joe Twombly.
Now, Mr. Twombly, your question is, in what year did the Pilgrims land on Plymouth Rock?
1776.
Oh, I'm sorry. You answered that question wrong. But for your trouble, my sponsors want you to have a 13-cubic-foot refrigerator, a 16-inch Admiral television, a grand piano, a 40-foot yacht, and $50,000 in cash. Better luck next time.
Gee, it's a shame. It's a shame he didn't answer it right. Now, where is that ball game?
And here we are in the last half of the second inning of a very exciting game.
That's it.
Woodling is up at bat. There are 2 strikes against him, and here comes the pitch. It's a long fly! A high fly! It's going up! High, high, high!
Oh, for heaven's sake, in my excitement, I turned the dial. I'll try to get it again.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming up to the plate is Rizzuto. Woodling is on first base. Woodling is trying to worry the pitcher. He's dancing off the base. He's dancing back again. He's dancing off again. And now he's dancing back. As announced earlier, the coach on first base is Arthur Murray.
Arthur Murray? I thought he was with Brooklyn.
This is a tense moment. Rizzuto calls for time. Steps out of the batter's box, takes his bat and hits his shoe to knock the dirt out of his spikes. DiMaggio is now batting. Rizzuto broke his ankle.
Oh, that's a shame.
However, we want you fans to know that even though Rizzuto will be out of the game with a broken ankle, he will collect half salary thanks to an insurance policy he took out in Beverly Hills.
Jack, do you know Rizzuto?
No, he was visiting the Colemans. I happened to be over there.
While I was giving you that little sidelight, DiMaggio took 2 strikes. Here comes the pitch. He swings and misses. It's strike 3. The crowd is going wild. And here comes the next pitch. He swings and misses for strike 4.
Strike 4?
Then here comes the next pitch. He fans the air for strike 5.
5?
As you know, DiMaggio is the umpire's nephew. And here comes the next pitch.
How do you like that? There's something wrong with the radio.
Well, shake it.
Hit it. Kick it.
I will not. I can't understand it. The set has never gone bad before.
Oh, yes, it did, boss.
When?
During the Dempsey-Tunney fight.
Oh, yes. I remember.
Jack, here's the trouble. The plug is pulled out of the wall.
Well, plug it in. Plug it in.
Here comes the pitch. He swings and misses for strike 12.
Strike 12?
Wait a minute. DiMaggio called himself out. He's tired. The game is still tied at 1-1. Woodling is now on third. And coming up to bat is Charles Ezzard.
You see, Mary? I told you.
The pitcher winds up. There comes the pitch. And now for a few words from our sponsor, Gillette.
Gillette?
Let me tell you about Lucky Strike. Look sharp, feel sharp, be happy, go lucky. It's our custom to bring you famous athletes to say a few words about our product. Now, we'd like you to hear from 4 sportsmen.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me a package of Lucky Strikes. That's the cigarette everyone likes. So let's puff on a Lucky. Just remember the name. For it's 1, 2, 3 Lucky Strikes at the old ball game. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. The score for a Lucky is 2-1. Be happy, go lucky. You'll have so much fun if you puff on a Lucky. Just remember the name. For it's LSMFFT at the old ball game. Look sharp, feel sharp, be sharp. Smoke a Lucky Strike.
Now Yogi Berra is at bat. The count is 1-1. Here comes the pitch, and it's a ball knee-high. Here comes the wind-up, and the pitch, and it's ball 3. That one was shoulder-high. Here comes the wind-up again. And it's a strike right across the middle. It was
Bali Hai.
Why doesn't she keep out of it?
That was strike 2 on Berra. And here comes the next pitch. What a wallop!
Tunney is down. Yes, he's down. And the referee is waving Dempsey to a neutral corner.
That must have been stuck in there.
Shake it, boss. Shake it.
I am. There, I think it's fixed now.
The score is tied 1-1. Berra's on second, and Mize comes up to bat. It's a crucial moment. The pitcher is winding up, and he's ready to... Oh, boy, I'll have a hot dog. Thank you. The pitcher throws the ball. Mize hits the ball, and it's a long fly.
What did he say? Why didn't he put down that hot dog?
Yes, it's going out.
Stop eating
already.
Why doesn't he stop eating?
Well, that's the end of the ninth. And once again!
Oh, nuts. Turn it off, Rochester.
Kick it first. I want to see how that Dempsey-Tunney fight came out.
Never mind, never mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, stop fires, save jobs. Remember, the jobs as well as buildings go up in smoke. Fire destroys foodstuffs and materials we need to raise our production higher than ever before. Heed all fire regulations. Put out burning matches and cigarettes before discarding them. Thank you. Jack will be back in just a moment, but first...
Be happy, go lucky, go lucky strike. Be happy, go lucky strike today.
So round, so firm, so fully packed, they're made without a flaw. That's why you find that Luckies are so easy on the draw.
I'll eat hot dogs or steak or fish, but only smoke one brand. Those milder, richer Lucky Strikes, the smoothest in the land.
Be happy, go lucky strike. Be happy, go lucky strike today.
Yes, friends, be happy. Go Lucky. Enjoy your cigarette. For Luckies always give you perfect mildness. In fact, scientific tests confirmed by 3 independent consulting laboratories prove Lucky Strike is milder than any other principal brand. And together with mildness, you always get rich taste, too. All the deep-down smoking enjoyment that comes from truly fine tobacco. For LSMFT, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So, friends, be happy. Go Lucky. Try a carton of Lucky Strike.
Be happy, go lucky strike. Be happy, go lucky strike today.
Well, there's nothing else on the radio, kids. Let's see what's on television.
Bali Hai.
That's the trouble with television. You can see them, too. Well, I think I'll go outside and get the evening paper. Oh, darn it. The Colemans took it in already. Well, I'll cut across the yard and go back to the house. Oh, for heaven's sake, Remley, why don't you get up and go home?
Be sure to hear Dennis Day and A Day in the Life of Dennis Day. Stay tuned to the Amos Nally Show, which follows immediately. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Time for advertisement. I've had 2 stories appear in Tales from the Canyons of the Damned recently. This is an e-magazine series you can get on Amazon and other electronic formats. Master and Commander with Monsters is how I describe my story in issue 18. The full title is A Personal Account of the Battle of the Eurydice and the Scepter. It's a Napoleonic Wars sea adventure where the French have an added advantage, a monster. You can read it, plus 3 other tales of horror on the high seas for $1.99, free on Kindle Unlimited, paperback version also available. And just in time for Halloween, in issue 19, I present my latest James and Reggie story. This is a series of homages to P.G. Wodehouse, wherein young man about town Reggie Brubaker and his faithful valet James encounter all sorts of fantasy and horror elements. But don't worry, these are comedies first and foremost. James and the Great Pumpkin Carving Contest appears in Tales from the Canyons of the Damned, issue 19. It's Halloween, and Reggie and James are in New York to help out a friend with his Broadway musical, The Call of Cthulhu, or something like that. Nobody can quite pronounce the title. Anyway, Magical and mysterious hijinks ensue. You can read it plus 4 other tales in issue 19 for only $2.99, free on Kindle Unlimited, paperback format, also available. Now here's an episode of X-1, the great science fiction radio anthology show. This is an adaptation of Ray Bradbury's classic short story, The Veldt. This story has been changed a little bit, giving a framing device that, in some sense, softens the impact of the original story. Maybe that was to make it more palatable for listeners. After all, radio came right into your home, into your living room, your bedroom. The story was first published in the September 23rd, 1950 issue of the Saturday Evening Post, and adapted by this radio show's predecessor, Dimension X, for the August 9th, 1951 broadcast. That version is a little more straightforward without the framing device, but I enjoy this one. In another sense, the framing device serves to heighten Bradbury's original theme of technology replacing parents. Bradbury was particularly worried about the effects of television on the parent-child dynamic. So anyway, from August 4th, 1955, X-1, The Veldt.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, presents X-1. Tonight's story, Ray Bradbury's tale, The Veldt.
This is the office of Dr. David McLean, resident psychiatrist of the new Chicago Institute of Human Engineering.
All right, Miss Carver, will you take this, please? To Charles S. Haworth, Senior Psychiatrist, New Chicago Institute of Human Engineering. The following constitutes my report on the case of George and Lydia Abbott, which we discussed by telephone. Subject George relates onset of symptoms to the purchase of a $60,000 soundproofed Happy Life home. Under narcosynthesis during initial interviews, subject described the experience in the following manner. Miss Carver, would you play back the sonic record of the initial interview?
We'd always wanted one, and then we could afford it, so...
Go on, Mr. Abbott. Tell me about the home.
The home. Well, it was supposed to do everything, the agent told us. And it did, I guess. It clothed us, fed us, and rocked us to sleep, played and sang, and it was good to us. Very good, sure.
Tell me about the nursery.
The nursery? The nursery, ah.
It was completely automatic?
Completely automatic. There were crystalline walls that wavered from 2 to 3 dimensions. There were pseudo-textured floors that shifted from brick to dirt to waving grass. The nursery was the best, but then we wanted the best for the children. Doctor, I must be crazy. We have no children.
What about Peter and Wendy? They're your children.
Oh, no. We have no children, Doctor. We have no children.
All right, Miss Carver. To continue. After 3 sessions, the subject was able to recall and accept the idea that he had 2 children. He described the first day.
All right, Peter and Wendy. This is your nursery.
What's so special about a nursery, Dad?
Plenty. Just go in and see.
Do we have to?
You'll be surprised.
Gee.
Go ahead.
I'm scared. I'm not. Hey, it's nice in here. It is? Come on in, Wendy. Boy, look at the pictures on the walls. They're real.
They're almost real. You can change them any way you like, just by thinking about it.
Go on in, dear.
Well, all right, Mommy. Hey, Wendy, look what I can do with the pictures. That's the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. Sure. I just thought about it, and there it was. Let me try. Peter, let me try. Well, go ahead. Just think. How about Wizard in Oz? I want to see Wizard in Oz.
Well, dear, there we are.
Oh, they like it, don't they?
Why shouldn't they? All I have to do is think, and they've got whatever they want in 3 dimensions. Color, sound, and smell.
Oh, it's nice that we can give them all the advantages.
Sure. What else are we working for, huh? Well, what do you want to do this evening?
Well, the Petersons asked us over for bridge, but if you...
we don't have to worry about the kids. They'll be all right in the nursery. Come on, Lydia. We deserve a night out.
And in the nursery, the walls were a kaleidoscope of time and space and imagination. The green forest of Sherwood and the quiet forms of Robin and his merry men gave way to the roll of the high seas and the smell of salt in the air as Sir Henry Morgan sailed into the harbor at Jamaica. And behind the crystalline quartz walls, the vacuum tubes and grids and banks of metal image tape spun quietly and efficiently, erasing the line between illusion and reality. Of course, the electric bill from Consolidated Utilities was tremendous, but it was worth it. The Happy Life home breathed contentedly as life proceeded with soft automaticity as guaranteed in the brochure and bill of sale.
George. George, I wish you'd look at the nursery.
What's wrong with it?
I don't know.
I was in the nursery last week. It's perfectly all right.
It's different now.
What do you mean, different?
I want you to come and see.
Are the kids there?
No. Madge Allen took them to a show along with her kids. That's why I want you to look at it now, before they get back.
Oh, all right. What you expect me to do, I don't know. I'm no mechanic.
This isn't a question of a leaky faucet, George.
All right, dear. I'm coming.
The nursery light flicked on as they came down the hall. The relays clicked and the tubes warmed and chemical odor banks and pipes bubbled into life as they paused before the closed door.
Go ahead, George. Open it.
On all sides, in 3 dimensions, stretched the hot, tired landscapes of an African veldt reproduced to the last stick and pebble and bit of straw. The ceiling above them became a sky with a hot yellow sun. A wind blew in from the baked veldtland. The hot straw smell of lion grass. The cool green smell of the hidden waterhole. The great rusty smell of animals. The howl of the jackal in the distance. And the papery rustling of the great vultures that wheeled and circled under the yellow burning sun.
Let's get out of this sun. It's a little too real.
Oh, George, you promised you'd look around.
Well, I don't see anything.
Wait a minute. There are the vultures.
Filthy creatures.
There. There are the lions. Far over that way.
Yes, I see them.
Well, they're on their way to the water hole. They've just eaten.
It's some animal. A zebra or a baby giraffe, maybe.
Can you see it? Are you sure?
It's a little late to be sure. Nothing over there but clean bone and the vultures swooping down for what's left.
Did you hear that scream?
What scream?
About a moment ago.
Sorry, no.
Oh, here come the lions. George, they're frightening.
Take it easy, Lydia. They're just illusion.
The lions were 15 feet away. So real, so startlingly real, you could feel the prickling fur on your hand, and your mouth was stuffed with the dusty upholstery smell of their heated pelts. And the yellow of them was in your eyes like the yellow of an exquisite tapestry. The yellows of lions and summer grass, and the sound of the matted lion lungs exhaling on the silent noontide, and the smell of meat from the panting, dripping mouth.
George, I'm afraid they're so real.
They're only an illusion, Lydia, that's all.
Watch out! Ah!
Out, quick, outside!
They almost got us.
Now, take it easy. Calm down.
I could feel their breath.
Get a hold of yourself, Lydia. They aren't real. Walls, that's all it is. Crystalloid walls.
They look so real.
Of course they do. But it's all dimensional color reactionary process, a mental tape film behind glass screens. It's all odorophonics and sonics. Now, here, take my handkerchief.
I'm afraid. Did you see? Did you feel it? It's too real.
Now, Lydia.
And we've got to tell Wendy and Peter not to read any more on Africa.
Of course, dear.
I want you to lock that place up.
But you know how difficult Peter is about that. I punished him last week by locking the nursery for an afternoon, and he threw a tantrum. And Wendy, too. Well, they live for the nursery.
It's got to be locked. That's all there is to it.
You've been working too hard, Lydia. You need a rest.
I don't know. Maybe I don't have enough to do. I have too much time to think. All I do is set the menu selector dials at the beginning of the week.
But that's the whole idea. The house is automatic.
I know, but couldn't we turn it off for about a week and take a vacation?
You mean you want to fry eggs for me?
And darn socks. I feel like I don't belong here. The house is wife and mother and maid. How can I compete with the African Veldts? George, those lions can't get out of there, can they?
Of course not, dear. Now, don't think about it anymore.
They ate alone. He sat idly watching the dining room table produce warm dishes of food from its mechanical interior.
You forgot the ketchup. That's better.
It wouldn't hurt to lock the children out of the nursery for a while. It was clear that they had been spending too much time in Africa. That sun, he could feel it on his neck still, like a hot paw. And the lions, and the smell of blood. Remarkable how the nursery caught the telepathic emanations of the children's minds and created a life to fulfill their desires. The children thought zebras, and there were zebras. Sun, sun. Giraffes, giraffes. Death, and death. They were so young. But long before you knew what death was, you were wishing it on someone else. But this, the long, hot African veldt, the awful death in the jaws of a lion, and repeated again and again and again. The children came home dutifully at 8:30.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Pop.
Hello, darlings. Do you want something to eat, dear? We're just having dessert.
We're full of strawberry ice cream.
And hot dogs.
We'll just sit and watch.
Sure. Peter, tell us about the nursery.
The nursery?
All about Africa and everything.
I don't understand.
Well, your mother and I were just traveling through Africa with rod and reel.
There's no Africa in the nursery.
Oh, come now, Peter. We know better.
I don't remember any Africa. Do you, Wen? Go run and see, huh?
Sure. I'll be right back.
Wendy, come back here. Wendy!
Oh, she'll be right back, Pop.
She doesn't have to. I've seen it. Come on.
Sure, Pop, but Wendy'll tell us.
Open the door.
See, Daddy? It's not Africa. It's Florida. Like in Bambi.
There go the deer. See? It isn't Africa.
I see it isn't. Go to bed.
But it isn't 9 o'clock.
You heard me. Go to bed.
Okay. Good night, Mom. Good night, Pop.
Good night.
Good night, dear. I'll be right in.
Wait a minute, Lydia. Look at this.
What is it?
This is the corner where the lions were, isn't it?
What is that you picked up?
An old wallet of mine. There's a smell of hot grass on it. The smell of a lion. It's wet with saliva. And it's been chewed.
George, those smears of blood.
Come on out. Now let's go to bed.
But in the middle of the night, he was still awake, and he knew his wife was awake.
George, how did your wallet get in the nursery?
I don't know. Wendy must have changed the walls from the African Veldt. I'm going to keep it locked. Maybe it isn't good for the children. My father used to say children are like carpets. They should be stepped on occasionally. We've never lifted a hand. They're spoiled and we're spoiled. I think I'll have Dr. McLean come tomorrow morning and have a look at Africa.
But it isn't Africa now. It's Florida and Bambi.
I have a feeling it'll be Africa again before then.
Although their automatic Somno beds tried very hard, the two adults could not be rocked to sleep for another hour. A smell of cats was in the night air. And in the morning, the stove cooked French toast, and the dining room table poured the syrup and melted butter.
Pop,
Yes?
you aren't going to lock up the nursery for good, are you?
That all depends.
On what?
On you and your sister.
We feel you should have some variety, dear.
I wouldn't want the nursery locked up ever.
Well, as a matter of fact, we're thinking of turning the whole house off for about a month. Sort of camping out.
Be fun for a change. Now, don't you think so, Wendy?
No, it'd be awful. I don't want to do anything but look and listen and smell. What else is there to do?
Oh, all right, all right. Go play in Africa.
Are you going to shut off the house soon?
We're considering it.
I don't think you better consider it any more, Pop.
I won't have any threats from you, son.
Okay, Pop. Come on, Wendy. Let's get back.
After breakfast, Dr. David McLean arrived.
Oh, I saw the nursery last year, George. It looked all right to me.
You didn't notice anything unusual?
No. The pattern showed the usual violence, a tendency towards slight paranoia. All children feel persecuted by their parents. It's perfectly normal.
There it is.
Suppose we take a look at it now.
They entered without knocking and sent the children out. The screams had faded and the lions were feeding quietly under the trees.
I wish I could see what they're eating.
How long has this been going on?
A little over a month.
Certainly doesn't feel good.
I don't want feelings. I want facts.
George, a psychologist never saw a fact in his life. He knows about feelings. And this doesn't feel good. Now, my advice to you is to have the whole room torn down and your children brought to me every day for the next year for treatment.
Is it that bad?
I'm afraid so. You know, that's why the nursery was developed originally, to let us examine the patterns left on the wall by a child's mind.
But what is it? What's wrong with Peter and Wendy?
Well, it's hard to say.
I haven't punished them more than average. Oh, I took away a few gadgets. Last week, I locked the nursery to show I meant business.
You've let this room replace you and your wife in your children's affections. This room is their real father and mother. And now you come along and want to shut it. Well, you can feel the hatred coming out of that sky. George, turn everything off. The nursery, the automatic kitchen, the whole automatic house. And start now.
But won't the shock be too much for the children?
I don't want them going any deeper. Let's get out of here. I never like these rooms. They get me nervous.
Those lions look real, don't they? I don't suppose there's any way...
What?
That they could become real.
Not that I know.
Some flaw in the machinery, tampering?
No.
I don't imagine the room will like being turned off.
Nothing ever likes to die, even a room.
I wonder if it hates me for turning it off.
Paranoia is thick today. Well, hello. Is this your scarf? It's stained. Brown. Blood.
That's Lydia's. Come on, the main fuse box is out here.
All right, go ahead. Pull the switch.
Yeah. It's off.
The two children were in hysterics. They screamed and kicked and threw things. They yelled and sobbed and swore and jumped on the furniture, weeping.
It's off and it stays off. The whole house dies as of now.
He marched around the house, cutting switches and pulling fuses.
Don't let them do it. Don't let Pop kill everything. I hate you. I hate you.
Insults won't get you anywhere.
I wish you were dead.
We were for a long while. Now we're going to start really living. Instead of being handled and massaged, we're going to live.
Once more, Daddy. Just once more. One more minute of the nursery, that's all. Just one more minute.
Oh, George, it can't hurt, really.
Oh, all right, only shut up. 1 minute, and that's the end. Forever.
Gee, thanks, Pop. Thanks.
And then we're going on a vacation. Dr. McLean is coming in half an hour to help us out. Lydia, turn on the nursery for just a minute.
Oh, boy. Come on, Wendy. Come on. Thanks, Daddy. Thanks a lot.
Just 1 minute, remember? Now, where'd I put those suitcases? Lydia!
Don't shout, George. I'm right here.
Did you leave them alone in the nursery?
Well, I've got to get ready, George.
Well, I guess we'd better get them out of there before they get involved with those beasts again.
Pop! Pop, come here! Daddy! Mommy!
Come on, quick.
Wendy! Peter! What's the matter?
Hurry up. Open the nursery. Wendy! Peter!
They aren't anywhere. Wendy? Peter?
Peter! The door. Open the door. They've locked it from the outside. Peter!
Peter! Wendy! Peter! Open the door, dear!
Let us out, Peter! Open the door. It's time to go. Open the door!
George! The lions!
Peter, do you hear me? Open this door!
They're all around us, George!
Son! Son, do you hear me? Let us out! Son!
George! Look out! The lions! They're coming! Ah!
When Dr. David McLean came, half hour later, he found the two children in the nursery sitting in the center of the open glade eating a picnic lunch. Beyond them was the waterhole and the yellow Veldt land. Above was the hot sun. At a distance, Dr. McLean saw the lions fighting and clawing and then settling down to feed in silence under the shady trees.
Hi, kids. Where are your mom and dad?
Oh, they'll be here directly.
Good. We've got to get along.
He squinted at the lions with his hands up to his eyes. Now they were done feeding, and they moved to the waterhole to drink. A shadow flickered as the vultures dropped down from the blazing sky to finish what the lions left.
Dr. McLean? Dr. McLean?
Huh? What?
Have a cup of tea?
Which concludes my report to date. There were no lions, of course. Not in a physical sense. Lydia and George were devoured, however, almost as surely as if there had been lions. Their personalities were devoured by the mechanistic marvels which had usurped their role as parents. All four members of the family are under intensive therapy now and are doing as well as can be expected. Send that by telerope, Miss Carver. Oh, and would you ask George Abbott to step inside? I'm ready for him now.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you The Veldt, written by Ray Bradbury and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were Mary Patton, Bill Quinn, David Pfeffer, Beverly Lunsford, Charles Penman, and John Larkin. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Dan Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
That's your old-time radio fix for this week. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Be sure to subscribe to The Chronic Rift on iTunes or visit us frequently at chronicrift.com.
Hit it! Ding-a-ding-a-doo, a-ding-a-dee, a-ding-a-doo. What a voice! What a voice! Simply means ink. A-dink-a-doo, a-dink-a-dee. Good night, folks. Signing off.
I'm Phil Rizzuto for the Money Store, where we can help make your dreams come true. Can you imagine what you could do with $5,000, $10,000, $50,000? You could pay off all your debts, invest in business, or use the money for anything you desire. Imagine anything you desire. Want more information? Call the Money Store toll-free. In New Jersey, dial 800-672-1001. In Connecticut, dial 1-800-842-1105.